Hello everybody, my name is Alex and I got bored, so what I did was I went away and I drew up the basics of a third Civ 6 expansion pack. Now this expansion pack is a pretty good one. It would see rebellions and alliances on a scale that we have never previously seen. But before that, if somebody is thinking right now that, Alex, no, you're completely wrong, the Runner DLC is gonna be at best a 7 scenario pack, I completely agree with you. You are correct, but a man can dream, right? So the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to go through the big 3 political mechanics that would make up this DLC, and if at any point between number 3 and number 1 you decide you're enjoying it, please do remember to hit that like button because it helps us out immensely, and also to see more from myself, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Let's dive in. So the first thing I want to talk about is movements stepping up rebellions. Now rebellions right now in Civ 6 at worst can be like a slight inconvenience, right? I mean, it can get a bit serious at times, but in general it's not a massive deal. But what if they had the potential to go to that next level? What if instead of like one city throwing out a few units and revolting, you were facing the threat of a number of cities breaking away from your empire because they don't like you very much? Discontent may begin in one city, but the ideas of change and rebellion could spread quickly if multiple neighbouring cities lack their basic needs in the fundamental stuff like housing, like amenities, and obviously depending on loyalty pressure from other civs. Now when this discontent movement reaches a high enough level, you face what in essence is not just a single manageable uprising, but instead is something that could be on the scale of a civil war, where a number of breakaway cities attempt to go it alone, and maybe even form their own civ, or at the very least an enlarged city-state styled alliance. By the way, I'm all for rival civs jumping in and maybe helping a region break away from their rival, though this would probably have to come along with some heavy warmongering penalties. Now, being upset with you is one thing that can cause unity between these cities that want to break away, but what else could form a unifying theme amongst them? My thoughts on this is perhaps they could share a religion different to the majority of your empire. Maybe they could be founded on a different continent, especially if this continent is overseas and far from your homeland and capital city. They could all be impacted largely by a neighbour with different values and government, or more likely it would probably be like a mixture of all these factors and others which cause discontent. Whatever the reason, I would love to see political movements which can lead to breakaway civilizations become a mechanic in Civ 6. So from an empire crumbling from the inside to one which is branching out into a new top-tier political alliance, political unions is the next thing I want to talk about. Now, I've talked about this concept in a video the other week, but you guys did help shape it and refine it a little, so with your help I have decided that unions should involve the following things. First of all, a union should be any 2 nations joined under one single flag, and these should be regarded by the rest of the world as a single nation. For example, in foreign affairs such as war, they would be dealt with as a single entity. If you declare war on one member of a union, then you're going to find yourself at war with both members. I would also suggest that there should be a collaboration on scientific and civic research, in addition to a sort of sharing of finances and maybe even unique bonuses for every nation that joins in a union, like a unique one for every single civ. But how exactly this should be implemented without making the union OP and making it an unstoppable beast, I'm still working on that, but overall I do like the concept. So the final piece of the political jigsaw for my made up Civilization 6 third DLC is a vassal mechanic. Now, I don't think this idea is too far-fetched. Basically, once you've crushed a nation's military and essentially defeated them without taking every single city and literally wiping them off the face of the earth, instead of the hassle of taking and taming every last territory or the penalties which come from razing them to the ground, you could instead get yourself a nice servant civilization guaranteed for a certain number of turns. Now, for thanks of keeping them in the game, maybe the dominant civ could demand a turnly tribute of gold, science, culture, or maybe even a luxury resource, as well as implementing certain restrictions such as a maximum army or navy size to keep them in check. However, as good as it might seem to crush them militarily, to keep them easily under control in certain circumstances, you might actually desire that they stay rather strong, because you might have to fight your powerful enemies at the borders, leading to some difficult strategy calls. The last thing you want to do is provide easy prey for your big bully of a neighbour. What about for the Vassal though? What's in it for them? Why not just quit, really? Well, first and foremost, it keeps them in the game, and if the correct circumstances arrive, it could lead to a second chance. Because Vassals are almost certainly gonna suffer in science and culture if they're in that bad a position that they've submitted to being a Vassal, like cities have been lost, like surely, and they've probably lost the capital city as well. Vassals could get every science/civic that the senior partner researchers maybe just 10 turns after they unlock it. Who knows, maybe one day another civ might come along and fight with the Vassal for its liberation. Obviously only after the agreed amount of turns have passed, and I'd suggest that turn limit would be like 50 to 80 turns, maybe even longer, and where the senior partner chose not to liberate the Vassal themselves, but it keeps them in the game, and maybe if there's a big turnaround, they could still win. So there you go, I created the mechanics for a third major Civilization 6 expansion. Now I guess we just have to wait for Firaxis to make it. What do you think though? Did you like my suggestions, and do you have any of your own? Do you have any burning desires you need to see in Civ 6? Let me know down in the comments. Now if you have enjoyed this video, be sure to hit that like button because that would help me out incredibly, and subscribe to the channel to see more from me. Also check out our last Civ video, I'll leave a little link somewhere on the screen right now. Anyway, thank you so much for watching today. My name is Alex, and I will see you in another video very soon.